everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Hi, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon if you're on the East Coast or somewhere else. So happy to see you all. Thank you so much for coming. I want to make sure Lee actually went to go get his favorite hot beverage because we're going to start with a little ritual of drinking tea or coffee or whatever people want to drink together. And Lee's going to lead us through a little mindfulness ritual that centers around our beverage. So if anybody wants to go grab something different, Lee's going to be here in a second with his beverage. I have my matcha green tea. Or you could always, if you don't have one, you could, I'm sure, do it through your imagination. Thank you all for coming. So for those of you who don't know me, or this is your first event with Quest for Eternal Sunshine, I'm Myra Goodman, and I have this little platform, Quest for Eternal Sunshine, that is devoted to offering free resources for wisdom, healing, and self-discovery. And it's in honor of my dad, who was a Holocaust survivor, who really went on an amazing healing journeyed from darkness to light, and wanted to help everybody find more peace and joy in their life. And I'm especially excited about this event with Lee Holden because he is an amazing teacher, not only of Qigong, but of mindfulness and meditation, and a great example of someone who lives life with a lot of peace and joy and engagement. And Qigong has been very revolutionary for me. It has really taught me how to relax. It's kind of, it's amazing that we need to learn how to do something so simple as relax. Oh, here's Lee. Alex, maybe you could do a split view just right now of me and Lee in the beginning. So this is Lee Holden. He is my Qigong teacher. I think Lee is actually, one of the most incredible humans I know and have met. And every single day, I am so grateful for his offerings. He has been teaching Qigong for more than 30 years. He has certified over 2,000 Qigong teachers. And what Lee does is he makes Qigong accessible and affordable through an incredible array of offerings online. We'll send you links to all of it at the end. And he has a brand new book called Ready, Set, Slow that is wisdom packed and shares a lot of the lessons that he has learned throughout his many decades of learning and teaching Qigong. And Lee's he's gonna kick us off with our beautiful beverage ritual. Thank you so much, Lee. It's such an honor to have an event with you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, guys. It's so wonderful and lovely to be here. And gosh, I just love talking about this stuff. What a warm welcome. Um, and I think we're going to kick things off with a little tea ritual, you guys. And this is a ritual I learned from a Buddhist monk. She was such a beautiful soul. Her name was Deng Deng. And she had this long family tradition of growing jasmine tea in the mountains of China. And she taught us this ritual when we were there training and studying and doing all kinds of Qigong and meditation. And it's a ritual that has just stuck with me ever since. And I start my day almost every day with this ritual. In fact, I just taught it to 4 of my closest guy friends. We just did it this morning. And it's taking a cup of tea or your morning beverage of choice. And it's a gratitude ritual. And I love it because it puts gratitude into a practice, into something that we're always doing. And in the book, Ready, Set, Slow, I have put in lots of tools and techniques to incorporate habitual mindfulness practices into your everyday life events, like having a morning beverage. So we take the tea or the coffee and bring it right by our heart center. And then what we're going to do is just make a little circle so we can embody these principles. When we talk about gratitude, sometimes it becomes something that we just do in our minds or our heads. But when you put something, intention into motion, it becomes more powerful. So we make a little circle right in front of your heart. It could be very tiny. It could be a big circle. And what we're going to do is just close our eyes and just think about a few things that we're grateful for. And let's just tune our attention, our mental filters towards gratitude. And what we're going to do is also stir in more things to be grateful for as the day unfolds. And when you put an intention towards something, life has a way of having those intentions show up. So, what are we grateful for? One of the things I'm grateful for and stirring in is us all getting together here and doing practices like this, and for having such a beautiful host and bringing us all together. And then we could just take a cheers and a salute to each other. We take a sip of the liquid and then mindfully just taste the flavor, follow the liquid as it comes down into your body and creates this present moment awareness and this grounding. Take a nice deep breath. And now we're all here, present and grateful together. Thank you so much for bringing us all here.
Oh, thank you so much, Lee. This is so, it's so what I see your face pretty much every day. I do Qigong now. I broke my shoulder a month ago, and I find that even doing huge modifications, just listening to your voice and even visualizing. I said to people while you were getting your tea, I bet if you don't have something to drink, you can just pretend. You can visualize.
Absolutely can. You can stir in a cup of chi.
Just
That's
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 you can do that anytime, right? And
you
just
can. And just like, okay, I need to stir in some gratitude. There's always something to be grateful for, even in the midst of, stressful life events.
yeah, that's beautiful. So Lee, our invitation was very ambitious. We made a lot of promises. One of the things so I'm going to kind of lead you through all the things that we promised people we were going to teach them and do with them. Okay. And then in
Beautiful.
terms of the practices, we started with the tea ritual. We're going to, so Lee, I'm just kind of telling you this so you could weave it in if you feel like the time is right in our conversation.
Beautiful.
You're going to help us become, well, first, why don't you define what stress is? Because one of the things that we're talking about is why slowing down is the quickest way to relax and one of the most effective ways to deal with stress.
Right.
And then two of the things we promised is how to identify stress in our minds and bodies, because I think sometimes it's like we're always feeling that like we don't even know. That's one of the things that I like am so grateful about for your qigong practice is I have so much more internal awareness. I'm aware when my breath is shallow, when there's stress in my body, and I know what to do about it. So,
Yeah.
so how do we know what we can do about it? And then maybe you could lead right into you were going to teach us a breathing technique or two for relaxation. Is that too much
That's a
to do
great,
all at once?
no, that's a great little section right there, because I think it is so important to understand, number one, what is stress? How does it affect us? And then most importantly, what can we do about it? How can we, what is called in Qigong, transforming stress into vitality, or transform it into something else? Not allow stress to become systemic, or let's say lodge into our mind body system, especially unnecessarily so. And, what we really want to transform is chronic stress. There's day-to-day stress. We don't want it to become chronic because it creates so many ailments within us. So, number one, stress is part of our nervous system. It is the fight or flight response of the nervous system. It is when the switch happens and we all of a sudden are in a particular branch of the nervous system called sympathetic. We're in the sympathetic branch, which means we're in fight or flight, which signifies that the perception within ourselves is that our life is in danger. where our life is being threatened and we're in survival mode. So it's a very important part of the nervous system to keep us safe, to keep us alive, especially important when you're facing a grizzly bear. When you're standing on the cliff's edge, it's good to have some fear. When you are walking down a dark alley at night and some shady characters are coming towards you, fight or flight can be very, very important. So it's not that we don't want to have any stress in our system. It's just that we want to utilize fight or flight in the right moments of our life. It doesn't serve us when you're sitting in traffic. It doesn't serve us when you're thinking about your retirement account and the stock market has gone down. Your life isn't being threatened at those moments, but because survival mode is so predominant in our nervous system, your stress response is going to be hypervigilant, meaning that when little things in life happen that we don't like, we are going to have a response that is similar to facing a grizzly bear. And so chronic stress is your body constantly getting hijacked by survival mode, and it has a wear and tear on your body, especially when we don't discharge the stress. In Qigong, what happens is it'll create stagnant energy. Stagnant energy is when we feel discomfort, pain, anxiousness, headaches, digestive issues, cardiovascular issues. We're going to start to see these things happen more frequently when we are under lots of stress. So stress can be something that's very real, like facing a grizzly bear, and it can also be perceptional. We often perceive life to be stressful even when our life isn't being threatened. And that's what we want to work on. We want to transform that. When we want to say to our own minds and our own mind-body system, hey, relax, calm down. My life isn't being threatened. Stress and going into sympathetic branch of the nervous system is an overreaction. And I can calm down. So the one question we can ask ourselves when we start to feel stress, is this a life-threatening situation? If the answer is no, that's when we do our work. We need to do our work. And nobody's teaching workshops on how to become stressed out. We have that hardwired into our system. Nobody needs to teach a Qigong, a meditation class on how to be stressed out, anxious, and worried. Those things are already hardwired. We need to learn if we want to be and live happy, healthy, fulfilling lives. We need to be able to transform from a stress response into a relaxation response, because we can't be happy and in survival mode at the same time. Those are conflicting areas of our physiology. So number one, to get the treasures out of life that we really want, we need to learn how to, first and foremost, get ourselves into a different state, into a different internal state. And it might seem difficult, but it's actually a lot easier than we might expect. So to get out of stress, number one, you change your breathing, because as soon as we perceive life to be dangerous, as soon as we start to worry, we start to get frustrated, we start to get agitated, your nervous system starts to shift and your breathing follows. So a stress breathing pattern is shallow, it is often quick, and it is often high in the chest. So when we see a grizzly bear, we're getting ready to run, we're getting ready to fight or flee. And there's more to sympathetic branch than fight or flight. There's also freeze. There's a few other things that we do in sympathetic, but it is a stress response. And you'll notice when I say most of life's stresses aren't real in the objective sense, they're often created in here, because if there isn't stress in your environment, if there's not a life-threatening situation, what the mind will do is make one up. It'll look into the future and say, we might be safe now, but what if X, Y, and Z happens. And those X, Y, and Z is usually something negative, something stressful. So we're scanning for danger in the future. And if we're not scanning for danger in the future, often we're bringing up life's biggest stresses from our past. So our present moment is often relaxed, or as my teenagers say, it's chill, it's perfectly fine. But then we go into our past and we think about the stress we've had, or we project into the future about the stress that might be coming our way. That's when we do our work. See, Qigong, gong of the Qigong word, gong means work. And what is your work to do in life? Because Qi is life. It is life force energy. And the work that we are doing in life, part of the big work that we do is to transform stress and to really get present with where we are and what we want out of life. And if what we want is health and happiness, it is essential to be able to manage our stress in skillful ways. That is the stress in the moment, the stress in the past, the stress that might be coming our way in the future. And it's all about working with energy. So, how do we immediately start to transform stress? We work on changing our breathing, because your breath is always a communication between the body and the mind. It's the bridge that communicates. So the mind is going to say, how are we doing? And the body's going to tell it. We're stressed out because our life is being threatened based on our breathing. If you're breathing slow, your perception of your environment is going to be, we are safe. So we slow breathe. It creates a shift in the nervous system from sympathetic to parasympathetic. Parasympathetic is your rest and digest. That means when you're in parasympathetic, that is when your body's going to heal. It is when the inner healer is ignited within you. So these things are very, very important, because now the latest research is showing that stress is the root cause of most illness and most disease, as well as most everyday life problems that you feel in your body. They say 90% of primary doctor visits are stress related. That's emotional stress that creates then physical tension in our body. So people under stress will hold too much tension in their neck and shoulders. When you're under stress, perceived stress, pain increases. Most cardiovascular issues, cancer, digestive issues will also have roots in stress. So, as part of Chinese medicine, because Chinese medicine is based on prevention, preventing problems from arising in our physiology, one of the main things we can do is transform stress into vitality. First step is breathing. How do we breathe? Well, we're going to breathe slowly and we're going to breathe deeply. So what you can do is put one hand on your belly and one hand on your chest. And what you're going to do is start your breath in your belly, because when you're belly breathing, your body says, oh, we're centered. So put some breath here. That means when you inhale, the belly expands. Okay, can you feel that? It's called breathing into your center. Also with breath, in terms of energy, where the breath goes, energy follows. So if you're breathing into your belly, your energy is going to come down here, which means your mind is going to be calmer. So we come down into our center, mind becomes clear, we become more present. Now, the next part of the breathing is breathe belly to the ribs, all the way to your chest. And then exhale, chest relaxes, ribs relax, belly relaxes. And you're going to get a lot of movement through your torso, belly, ribs, chest. And notice that the breath is slow. Exhale, relax the chest, relax the ribs, all the way out from the belly. An ideal breath is 5 seconds on the inhale, and 5 seconds on the exhale. We might call this a slow breath. And so in the book, Ready, Set, Slow, there's a whole section on breathing and all the physiological benefits of breathing slowly. So try that for yourself. Inhale for about 5 seconds. And exhale for about 5 seconds. A slow breath in and a slow breath out. Very good. Now, after doing slow breathing for just 2 to 3 minutes, you're going to feel a dramatic shift in your physiology, in your nervous system. So when you do that, all of a sudden the body's like, we're relaxed. And now all these different faculties in the brain become turned back on. They're now online as opposed to getting shut down and going into survival mode, which is more of our reptilian part of our brain. So just by simple breathing, you can create that shift. So throughout the day, and what I suggest, people either set a little alarm 4 times a day to do 2 or 3 minutes of slow 5-second inhale, 5-second exhale breathing to reset the breathing pattern. Breath is habituated. And if you think about your breathing, it's one of the things that we can do consciously. It is like getting into the driver's seat of the autonomic nervous system. As soon as you start breathing different, every other physiological function starts to shift. We can't do most things in the autonomic nervous system. We can't, let's say, if I said, slow down your heartbeat right now, or digest your breakfast a little quicker, we can't just do that like we can with our breathing. You can always change your breathing. And the only other thing that we can have control over is blinking our eyes. It's breath and blinking. And breathing gives you much more physiological control of the system than anything else. So very powerful way of shifting. And now what we could do skillfully is to start to use breathing plus movement in combination to create those shifts. And we'll talk about that a little bit later in our practice today.
Thank you, Lee. One of the practices, well, in Lee's book, I don't, you have a bunch of breathing practices. One of the ones that I shared in that spirituality and health article, people didn't read it in my blog. If you go to Spirituality and Health magazine, there's an article that I wrote about Lee's book that shares some of my favorite practices. And you have that vagal breathing,
Oh, yes.
which I like literally do constantly. It's the 4 breaths in, hold for 2, 8 breaths out, hold for a sec. Do you want to offer just one other breathing technique
I
and
would love to.
maybe do that versus the other, or
Yes. And that's such a good point, Myra. I think the vagal breathing is a tool when you do feel really hijacked or really stressed out. So the vagus nerve is this big connection between the mind and the body. And it goes straight from the brain into, let's say, the digestive system. It influences the cardiovascular system. So to calm the vagus nerve is how to get ourselves out of a triggered state. So something in life happens, you get that phone call and it really made you upset. Life is full of unexpected surprises, and how we respond and react can make a big difference on how much internalized stress we carry. Some little things in life, whether it's a frustration of, you had somebody who's supposed to work on your house and they didn't show up to fix the sink, or somebody who was supposed to show up and they didn't, and how do we react? Some people on little things, quote unquote, what we would call little things, get very triggered, and they react and respond in their nervous system as if it's a life-threatening situation. the barista didn't make you the cup of coffee that you ordered. And you see people get really angry about it. They're having a response that's an overreaction. Even in our own minds, we can think about something in the future and get really worked up. I was seeing, I have teenage daughters, and I was listening to them talk, and one of the girls was getting so worked up about what she perceived as another girl looking at her at a party. Did you see the way she looked at me? Oh my gosh, she's such a this, that, and the other thing. She started getting worked up. And then the other day at school, she looked at me like this. Nothing even happened. She was just perceiving the way this girl was looking at her, and she was getting worked up. She was swearing. And I was like, this is what we do as human beings. We start to perceive and we make up stories in our own minds because we're hardwired for stress and danger. And, teenagers can be especially dramatic. So I was talking to my daughters afterwards. I was like, wow, you guys are getting kind of worked up about just seeing somebody, the way somebody looked at you. And they were giving me the story around it and why is this, why it all happened. And I said, well, what's important is to keep yourself calm, to be observant, but to be calm inside. And I actually taught them some vagal breathing. Now, the vagal breathing is when you notice yourself getting stressed out, or when you notice in a moment your body going into fight or flight. Heartbeat increases, tension starts to creep in, the brain and the mind starts to repeat thoughts and even escalate what was perceived. Okay, so vagal breathing, to get ourselves out of stress. You can put the hands in the same spot, hand on the belly, hand on the chest. You're going to inhale 4. So 2, 3, 4. You hold 2. 1, 2. You exhale 6 to 8. So it's a very slow exhale. Now, for some people, when you go into stress response, that is too long of a breath. So you could do inhale 3, hold 1, exhale 5. It's just the exhale is about twice as long as the inhale. And that's what you can get into. So depending on your respiratory capacity, if you can inhale 4, hold 2, exhale 8, great. That's the full vagal breathing. If you need to exhale 6, make the breath comfortable. You don't want to make it too strenuous on the system. So try that a couple times. And that little pause at the top of the inhale just clears the mind. And then that soft, slow exhale just tells the whole system, it's okay. You're fine. You're safe. This moment is okay as it is. You can relax. You don't have to hold the stress in your body. It's a great breathing exercise to do if you can't sleep, especially if you woke up and your mind is too amplified.
Lee, somebody asked about nose breathing versus mouth breathing.
Try breathing through your nose. Nose is, if you breathe through the nose, again, it's sending a message to the body, you're safe. Because notice when we're in fight or flight, immediately you get face to face with a grizzly bear, what are you going to do? Breathe through the mouth. Nose breathing automatically relaxes the system. As they say in Qigong, nose is for breathing, mouth is for eating.
One thing in your classes, Lee, we breathe through our nose, but when we're discharging stress, sometimes you'll do a exhale through the mouth for a little while. Is that like if I'm feeling really stressed, could you do a couple of breaths where you discharge with the mouth? And then maybe like a little bit about sound too, because one of the things that you've really taught me is the power of that sound in the exhale.
Oh, yeah.
Why does the sound help so much with the stress
Right.
relief?
Right. And that's such a good point too. So every breathing technique that you do shifts energy. So when we want to shift energy, we can do little tweaks to our breathing. Now, when you exhale through the mouth, it is a good release. So you'll notice naturally human beings, when we get frustrated, we sigh. We just like something happens we don't quite like. It's not a big deal. We're just like, oh. And you'll see people sighing as a way to release. So for the most of the time, most of the day, if you can breathe through the nose, that's the best. Now, strategically, if you want to release energy, you can exhale through the mouth, and we can make different sounds. In Qigong practice, it's called the healing sounds, and each emotion can have a sound that helps it to release and clear. So if you're feeling more depressed as opposed to anxious, there's different sounds that we can make to release or create that transformation. So when you, in Qigong practice, as Myra was saying, when you exhale, like for example, if we do the same breathing, inhale 4, hold 2, and then exhale, and make that sound, it's going to be a bigger release. We call it purging energetically. We're going to let energy out. The energy that we're letting out is the energy of stress. It's the energy we don't want. So try that. Take a slow breath in through the nose, a little pause, and then almost like a sigh, just a and you'll feel this letting go, right? Try it again. 3 or 4 of those breaths can be a stronger way of letting go, and then you come back to the nose breathing. So now when we do our Qigong portion of class, we'll do some of that so that we'll do some movement, like some shaking with that kind of breathing. And it's going to be even faster for cleansing and clearing systemic stress, because we all are holding stress, tension, and tightness in our body, and it's unnecessary. It is zapping our energy. It is using up energy when we don't need it to be. So that's what we want to clear. We want to clear all this, the ways in which the body is hyper vigilant in holding tension. And in fact, holding tension is going to drain your body's energy. And I think most people can agree that they would like a little more energy. It's not that you don't have the energy, it's that the energy isn't being managed that well by your energetic manager. We're going like this and holding tension in neck and shoulders, low back, abdomen, and that takes energy. So when you relax, it returns energy back to your system.
Yeah, it's really true. Lee says a lot turns stress into vitality. And I mean, literally, like I had my first 30 years in organic farming, being like a proselytizer about organic. Like there's nothing that's gotten me so excited to share with other people since then, except for Qigong and Lee Holden Qigong, because like to feel the stress and then learn how to literally turn it into vitality, like to start even a 7-minute. Lee does this 30-day challenge, that's 7-minute routines. Even in 7 minutes, it's just your whole system changes. Lee, what I want to make sure we do, because I want to do our full promises for our invitation, that are on our invitation, is how about a 5-minute guided meditation before we move into Qigong?
Okay,
And
beautiful.
Lee, I do want to say that when I first started studying Qigong with Lee, I just thought it was Qigong. Then I've learned that Lee is also the best mindfulness meditation teacher I've ever encountered. And he's also just shares a lot of wisdom. He really is a wise person that has so much we can learn from. So, and then what we're going to do after, just so everyone knows, Allison, who's our tech support today at Quest for Eternal Sunshine, we're going to break like the meditation out, the tea ritual out, so that, and put them on YouTube, if that's okay with you, Lee, so that people can do the 20-minute Qigong routine. They can do the guided meditation. They don't have to, scroll through the whole Zoom recording. So these are going to be resources that live on our website and on our YouTube channel. They'll all link to all of Lee's stuff. So these are going to be tools that you can have from now on. Okay. So if that works for you,
Beautiful. I love it.
yeah, 4 or 5-minute guided meditation, and then we'll do our Qigong routine, and then we'll open it up for Q&A.
Yeah, beautiful. And I think we can just drop right in. And Myra was talking about mindfulness. And really, what does mindfulness mean? It means the fullness of your awareness becomes grounded in the present moment, and it becomes sustainable. Mindfulness that's sustained leads to flow state. It leads to this flowing continuity of sustained present moment awareness. And the practice of meditation is returning the mind, which means your attention, back to the present moment. Where is your attention? Is it on the past? Is it in the future? Is it in the present moment? And we want to be able to gather and be in control of our attention. That means being in control of our own minds. So meditation is the practice of getting to know your own mind and being able to place your attention where you want it to be. Because where attention goes, that's where energy flows. And it's important to understand that attention is the mind's energy. It's the mind's energy investment. And so we come back to the moment. How do we come back to the moment? We're going to ask ourselves a very important question. And this comes from the Zen tradition of inquiry meditation, meaning you ask a question, your mind automatically wants to answer it as soon as it gets asked a question. You're going to ask you're going to ask yourself this question: where am I? And the only answer that can be true is that you are here. So I want you to say, in your own mind, where am I? And I want you to hear your mind answer the question, I'm here. And then I want you to just be absorbed into where here is. So slow breathing through the nose. Ask the question, where am I? In your own mind. Answer, I'm here. Hear that, I'm here in your mind. And now feel the floor underneath you or the chair at your back. How do you know you're here? I feel the chair. I feel the floor. I can feel the breath coming in and out through my nose. I can hear the ambient sound in the room. I am here. Whenever the mind just starts to wander into its thinking or daydreaming, return to the question. It's just like mind, where are you? And then answer, I'm here. And now just feel where here is. Pay attention to something that is here. The sounds in the room, the sensation in your body, even the light that's coming in through your eyelids. I'm here. I feel my breath coming in and out through my nose. Whenever your mind becomes unruly or hard to bring back, or having turbulent thoughts, you can use this question. It doesn't have to be even a formal meditation. You can do it when you're driving. You can do it anytime the mind is getting unruly. Yeah. Oh, wait a second. Where am I? Oh, that's right. I'm always in the moment. I'm here. And bring your attention back to the present as a way to center, regroup, and then we can redirect the mind into something else. And that redirecting the mind into something else can be another type of meditation. What do I want? What do I want to create? And we start to put attention into a more positive framework. Take another slow, deep breath. Where am I? I'm here. When you arrive into the moment, relax. Tension releasing out of the neck and shoulders, body relaxes into the moment. Now you've gathered your energy, you've gathered your power, you've gathered your mind. Wonderful. And slowly, just slowly open your eyes. Let the light filter in. Where am I? I'm here. How do I know I'm here? Well, I can see the room. I can see the view out of the room. I'm here. Good. And now from this place of being centered and grounded in the moment, we can much more skillfully navigate the challenges of life and what we want to create in our day. And how about we create some energy movement with the practice, a continued practice?
That's beautiful. Thank you, Lee. I love that meditation. I do that
I
all
love
the
it too.
time. It's so it's perfect. Um, I'm good. We're gonna do a 20-minute Qigong routine now. I'm healing from a broken shoulder, so I'm modifying so much. I still love it. It's still I feel the benefit. I'm starting to actually I can't lift up my left arm, but when I'm doing my right, I visualize my left.
That's so good. And the power of the mind is extraordinary. I mean, even the studies are showing that when you visualize, it actually creates physiological change in the body. If weightlifters visualize themselves lifting weights, their muscles get stronger. Piano players just visualize playing the piano, all the muscles in their hands change over time as if you were actually playing it. So it is a great, great technique.
That is wild. Wow. Um, so I'm going to turn off my camera just because I don't want to confuse people with how many variations I do if people are so but here we go, right? And
Let's do it.
what's wonderful about qigong that I always say it's not like yoga, sometimes Lee goes on the floor but rarely. It's like you can wear any clothes, you can do it anywhere. One of the things that I like to tell people in case Lee doesn't tell people is that I think so many of us come at what we consider exercise as we want to be as flexible as possible or strong as possible, or that qigong is one of the gifts of qigong is becoming really aware of your body and not doing and just listening to your body and just doing what feels good. Never because I in the beginning I would crank my neck too much and I like to just tell people that. So here we go, right? We're going to do our
Here we go. Yeah, let's do our Qigong practice, guys. Go ahead and stand up. And like Myra was saying, modify when you need to. You know, Qigong is not a competition. It's not about how flexible you are. It's really about just listening to your body and giving your body what it needs in the moment. So let's start off with a little energizer. Let's do something that's going to wake up the body's energy, and it's called knocking on the door of life. We're going to just turn from our hips and our waist, and we're going to just stimulate some key pressure points. You notice my arms are knocking across my rib cage, my abdomen, and my lower back. So I'm knocking right here. This is the door of life right here. So we're just knocking on the door of life. Good. And just take a couple of deep breaths and feel how that helps your spine to release. And then relax your upper back, your neck and shoulders. Take a deep breath. Very good. That wakes up the body's energy. The door of life is for vitality. So in Qigong, you're using pressure points and activations, energy enlivening movements to circulate our qi. And then go ahead and slow it down. Slow it down and relax. Now let's do something that's going to move the spine in its various directions. This one's called spinal cord breathing. We're going to inhale, open the chest, and exhale, round the back. Chin goes down and tailbone tucks under. And then a nice deep breath, open the chest. And round the back, tailbone tucks under, chin down, nice and slow. And now let's bring some mindfulness into the movement. I want you to feel your spine moving. Good. Feel all the joints in the spine moving and soaking up energy. In Qigong, we say breathe youthful vitality into your spine. Inhale and open. Exhale and round the back. And take a deep breath. And around the back, chin down. Moving all the joints through the spine. And when you open the chest, feel the front of your spine. That's an interesting area. And then you feel into the back of the spine. Feel the front of your spine, this area where the nervous system connects to the internal organs. Very good. And relax and relax. Now, a Qigong exercise that helps us to discharge energy, as we were talking about. We exhale through the mouth. We're going to, and we're going to, at the same time, shake the body. And shaking the body is a way to discharge stress. You'll see athletes do this. If you watch the Olympics before an event, the athletes are shaking and they're even knocking on themselves as a way to discharge nervous tension. Because when you discharge stress and nervous tension, you'll have peak performance. You'll show up as a better version of yourself. So we're going to do this. We're going to big deep breath in through the nose and then a and you're just saying, hey, body, let go of any stress, tension, and tightness that you no longer need. Take a nice deep breath. Inhale. Exhale. Release the shoulders and let the energy move right through the back of the neck. So you shake a little bit into the back of the neck. A long exhale. Good, and just slow it down, slow it down. And now notice from this point of being still, how your body feels. See if you can feel some energy activated in your body. A little lightness, a little tingling as it flows through the meridians of the arms. Maybe a little relaxation, a wave of warm energy through the spine to the head. In just a few minutes, you can transform stress into vitality with movements, synchronize with breath, with certain pressure point stimulation, like we did with the knocking on the door of life, and certain energy enlivening exercises like the shaking. Let's go into stretching lines of tension. Let's clear a little tension out of the body by pressing the palms down and out like that. This is called spreading the feathers. And we're going to clear tension or tightness in the upper back and neck. All right, so just slowly, with relaxation, lean the head over to one side and feel that line of tension stretching all the way through the forearms. It's one of the therapeutic exercises for carpal tunnel, arthritis, poor circulation into the hands. Now, slowly roll the head back and slowly roll the head forward. Take a nice deep breath and stretch and release the lines of tension in the upper back and neck. Now you can exhale through the mouth, especially if you feel like this area is holding a lot of tension. You can, and just tell the body, hey, let that go. Now go down and across to the other side, ear to the shoulder, and roll the head slowly back and forth across the shoulder. Stretch it out. Free up that tension so that it flows into circulation and can bring your body a new sense of vitality and energy. Roll the head back. And now go chin towards your chest. Relax the arms. And again, just feel into it. Notice that there's some tingling in your fingertips. You free up tension here, energy starts to flow in an improved way. Now, in Qigong, there's many different kinds of exercises. In fact, we do warm-ups, we do strengthening exercises, and then the key component of Qigong is slow flowing movements. And Qigong was the inspiration behind the book Ready, Set, Slow, because slow movements are ways in which we cultivate energy. They describe the slow movements as the secrets of cultivating energy. You go slow and more energy pours into your system. So if you apply slow principles to other things in life, you get tremendous benefit. So the book goes into things like slow eating, slow over tea, slow breathing, and all these beneficial things. But the real benefit to slowness is through movement, especially when we're thinking about energy cultivation. So let's do one that's called Open the Flow. We're going to just put the hands down like this to your sides. And then we're going to inhale slowly and float the arms up about shoulder height. And then relax your elbows, relax your shoulders, and float the hands down. Relaxation is the key to flow. Relax your upper back and your neck. And then relax as you float the arms down. So those two components, going slow with relaxation, is the key to Qigong practice and energy cultivation. Go slow to enter the flow. Good. And now once you have the hang of the movement, it's a very simple movement. The arms float up, neck, shoulders stay relaxed. And the arms float down, neck, shoulders relax again. If you wanted to, you could close your eyes and just feel that as you inhale, energy pours into your body. And as you exhale, that energy circulates through the energy pathways called meridians. Inhale, the arms float up nice and slow. Exhale, arms float down nice and slow. And notice that your Qigong practice is a moving meditation. Feel the air as it moves through the fingers and goes across the arms. Mindfulness in motion. It's an embodied meditation. And then as you continue to do the movement, just feel tension and tightness melting out of the upper back, neck, and shoulders. Take a deep breath. Bring your hands down, palms face towards each other. Good, and now let's do one. It's called Embrace the Tiger, Return to the Mountain. Embrace the tiger, return to the mountain, the name of the movement. The hands glide apart. Your hips go back just a little bit. Then the back of the hands come towards each other. We roll up, push forward, circle around. Bring the hands towards each other. Glide the hips back. And then we roll up. Push forward. Circle around. Very nice. Embrace the tiger. That's about harnessing your internal energy with this slowness and with these flows. Return to the mountain is getting grounded and finding inner peace in the present moment. Hips glide back. And we roll up. Push forward. Go ahead and exhale. And then inhale, circle around. And exhale, glide the hands apart. And inhale, rolling up. Exhale, push forward. Inhale. So you see the movement and the breath working together in these slow flowing movements. Embrace the tiger, harness your energy. Return to the mountain, stand strong in who you are, at peace in the present moment. Exhale, arms go out. In a deep breath. Exhale, push. Inhale, circle around. Good. Let's do that one more time. Embrace the tiger, return to the mountain. Now bring the hands back to your center. I want you to have the hands, palms face towards each other. And I want you to feel the chi in your hands. Pull the hands apart very slowly. Just go back and away, and then come a little closer and see if you can feel some energy, electromagnetism in the hands. Are they tingling? Can you feel a connection between the hands? This is chi. This is life force energy, and your body is full of life force energy. It's in the beating of your heart, the breathing of your lungs, the movement through your organs, and even in the light that shines in your mind. Now bring your hands to your sides. When you bring your hands to your sides, notice how your body feels. See if you can feel a tingling, a buzzing, an electricity moving through you. Now put your hands over your belly like that and center. Take a couple of deep breaths right here into your lower abdomen. We talked about belly breathing earlier in our session. Just feel when you inhale, you can breathe into your center. Slow breath through the nose into your abdomen. Slow exhale, feeling grounded and centered. And just feel that you are relaxed in the moment. Here's an opportunity to be in the moment with relaxation and full of energy. Qigong practice gives you that calm, relaxed mind and that powered up, energized body. Very good. And then at the end, just make a little circle. Just store that energy. Just save your work right here. This is like your chi bank account. Just fill it up. Very good, you guys. Wonderful practice. And we can get a lot of energy cultivation in a short amount of time. You see, slowness doesn't mean it has to take a long time. You can strategically slow down to improve the very quality of your life in a short amount of time to amplify your energy when you do it strategically, like we just did.
Thank you. Lee,
right.
last thing I just for like 30 seconds, one of the things I've noticed that I think might be nice to end on, is I've noticed that if you just slow down a hair, like from 65 miles per hour to like 59 or even 62,
Yeah,
it's almost like the act of decelerating versus accelerating sort of shifts everything. Does that make sense to
totally. Totally, because it's a mindset. It's a mindset. And you being aware does automatically, as soon as we become aware that we're going too quick, we will start to relax more and we'll start to be more present. So just decelerating, not when you're driving necessarily, but just decelerating the inner dialogue, decelerating maybe your external dialogue. You can, if you're communicating with somebody and you really want them to hear you, if you slow down, all of a sudden they start paying attention and they start listening. So even softening your voice and slowing down, all of a sudden when I do that with my kids, they're like on their phones or something and I start to slow down, I talk quieter, Like, what's going on? Why is dad doing the thing? So it becomes impactful to change, to shift your pace. Yeah, I love it.
That's a good tip. And some people in the chat asked if Lee teaches online classes. He teaches the greatest online classes. He's got a subscription. It's 39 or 39.99 a month. And there's new hour classes a few times a week, and then a 20-minute version. And they're fabulous. I tell every single person I know, I don't think I have one friend that I haven't talked them into doing your 30-day challenge.
Oh, that's so
As a
wonderful.
the best thing, and it's the quality of the videos. He's in front of the most beautiful oceans. It's so relaxing, and it gets you into I think a year and a half. I just did 7 minutes every day, really didn't skip, and then I started doing longer routines. So I can't recommend Lee's work enough. We'll send everybody links. I'm hoping that Lee will become a regular and come back next year and do
Oh,
another.
wonderful. Let's do that. I
Oh,
love your community. I love you. I love, you feel the same way I felt about Qigong and why I made this my life's path. Because I was just like, why aren't more people doing this? And that's that, some 35 years ago. And I was like, I'm going to go learn from the best teachers in Asia and just go get as much knowledge as I can and be able to explain this to my friends and family. And it just became my career. So thank you so much for having me. Let's do it again.
You are such a magnificent teacher, such a beautiful human. Thank you. And have a wonderful weekend. Lee, thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye,
Blessing.
everyone. Thanks so much. Thank you.